Welcome to the Daily Jerry Anderson podcast, which today celebrates the commendable action of the Royal Mail in issuing a set of Jerry Anderson commemorative stamps. Not before time. You see, I'm looking at this Royal Mail envelope here, and there's a letter that's sent to me. And it's a bit of a blurb. It's addressed to Mr. Jerry Anderson, Radio Foyle, Derry Stoke, Londonderry. It said, Jerry Anderson's ingenuity and inventiveness has caused a sensation over the past few years. We're delighted that all these years on we're able to recognise and celebrate his work on our first stamp issue of 2011. Please accept the enclosed first day cover with the compliments of the Royal Mail Group. You see, I can imagine that that's me. You see, it's very easy for me to imagine that that's me.
Yes, I know.
You know, Royal Mail is celebrating the iconic work of Jerry Anderson on a new set of stamps issued today. Jerry Anderson is a wonderful and creative entertainer and has thrilled millions of people.
Saw turkey neck in Marks and Spencer's yesterday. Were you out shopping yesterday?
I was in Marks and Spencer's. Yes, I was looking for the sherry trifle dessert.
Wearing a 80s puff jacket.
Sorry, a ladies' puff jacket?
An 80s.
An 80s puff jacket? There was no such thing as an 80s puff jacket.
I'm going to tell you what this person said.
These people, who are they?
All right. That's some length of hair he has round the back. Pity about the top.
Oh, you see, that's the kind of thing that I have to deal with, yes.
Please play Billy Brown's Cinderella.
He has some chance after being insulting.
Mm-hmm.
I can't understand why people write insulting things again and then expect you to do a favour. Don't they realise that we're ordinary human beings? If we're pricked, do we not bleed?
Mm-hmm.
And here's a gentleman who writes to me and said,
Margaret Murphy is celebrating her 20th birthday today. Lots of love from all the family and especially from Granda Paul McAvoy.
Do you want some Granda's porridge? Do you want some of Granda's porridge? The talk then turns to petroleum and the huge part it plays in our lives. Remember, years ago, people used to say, before you know it, petrol will be £1 a gallon. How innocent we were. I tried that thing today, said Jerry, at the petrol station where you try and stop the pump bang on what you wanted to pay. Do you do that, or do you try and get it over a bit?
No, no, I would hate that. No, I do it one. I would say it's for the sake. Say it's £5.
Splashing out.
Let's just say it's that.
Why don't you just make it a tenner, like an ordinary human?
Say it's £1, whatever it is.
But £1,
whatever it is. When it comes,
make it a tenner.
£9.95.
Is that where you stop it at £9.95?
Then you go each wee press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I apologise once. I told the fella I had gone 3 digits over.
You mean 3p over?
Yeah.
And what would you do? I would do that deliberately in the hope that the fellow would say, "Oh, that's all right."
I handed them the money.
You 3p?
So that's all right.
No, but you see, what I do is, if I did that, say it was 20 quid, right, and I had registered 2003, I'd go in and say, "Much is that?"
I mean, much that you just put it in.
I know, but see, I would say to him, "How much is that?" You see, and if he's mean enough, he'll say £20 and 3p. But see, people aren't as mean as that, so people usually say, "Oh, 20 quid's all right." I always say that because it's better to do that than go in and say, "Listen, I'm 3p over. Do you want that?" Or whatever you would say.
No, I don't do that.
And what do you do?
The last time I handed him, say it was £10 and 3p or £20. I had the 3p and he said, "What's that?" I said, "That's I want
3p extra." Anyway,
he handed it back to me.
No, he did. Of course he did, because no one had ever done that before.
So you say, "Put it in the box there." And then you walk out.
The poor box?
Whatever boxes. They don't have boxes in the
Vince
counter for whatever it is. You just say, put it in the box.
People in Africa?
Whatever.
It says here, please let it go. So this man said I did this at the local petrol station. I tried to stop the pump bang on what I wanted to pay. But I let it go a fraction just for curiosity. And it stopped at £20 and 4p. Right? Mm-hmm. Damn, I shouted. And walked into the shop to pay. Mm-hmm. And the attendant looked like, "Oh, sorry about that, you're all right." And he saw what I'd done. "Don't worry about the extra," he said. So I said, "Thank you very much." So I gave him a tenner and went away. You get it?
No.
It was £20 and 4p.
£20? Oh, £30.
So don't worry about the extra.
Oh,
so in other words, he was pretending he only wanted to put in a tenner. Because, I mean, he doesn't know. When the attendant says, "Don't worry about the extra," the attendant doesn't know how much you wanted to put in. You could have wanted to put in 15 quid, right?
Is it time for you to tell your petrol story?
No, I don't think it is.
No, you've got several.
Which one do you think?
Yeah,
ask the listeners which one they want.
Do you know which one I'm talking? But do you know which one I'm talking about?
Well, there's the one if the petrol splashes out.
Yes.
Yeah. I won't tell that one.
No.
Is there another one?
No, to me that's.
I'm not telling that one. I'm not telling that one. No, because that's people should know that already.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it until you told us.
Oh.
I don't want to experience it, but I
Okay, we may as well tell the people now. One of the worst...
Emma should close her ears.
Yes, Emma, close your ears. One of the worst things that can happen to a man is if he is standing beside his car and putting in his own petrol, okay?
Does it work with diesel, by the way? Same effect as diesel?
You know, I don't know.
No, right, okay, right.
A man is standing putting in his petrol, and I don't know what happens these days with all these modern conveniences, but there was a time if you put in too much, the petrol would splash out.
That's right.
Right. I don't think it happens. I just go now, doesn't it?
I think you've got some sort of valve on it.
Some kind of valve on it now, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if a man is wearing no underpants...
Oh, is that the secret?
Absolutely. If a man is wearing no underpants, he is in for a torrid time. Because if indeed the petrol splashes onto a man's farcal region, a man is in big trouble. You're talking here about pain the likes of which you have never, ever witnessed.
You experienced it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No,
I remember lying writhing on the ground.
I don't believe
I'm
you.
telling you.
I don't believe in the forecourt.
Okay, we're going to invite calls on this.
No, we're not.
I want you to listen to every one of them. Ask for Emma if you ring. No, I curled up in the forecourt.
I don't believe
I'm telling you. It was like something that the Japanese would have done during the war. It really was.
Jeepers.
Knights of the Bushido. But if they said, hey, tell us everything. Hey, want to tell us where is the invasion taking place? Is it Yokohama? Well, pour petrol on fuck. Hey, tell us everything. How did this get here? How did we get to this? The presenter has often railed against prohibitions imposed upon us by our local cinemas. One can neither eat fish suppers, smoke or drink alcohol, and we must remain silent at all times. It's not good enough. You can go to the Ulster Hall on a Friday night, whatever, say starting on the Friday the 14th of January, and it looks to me as if you can go up and get yourself a pint and watch 2 movies. I mean, this is what we always dreamed of.
No, I wouldn't like it, because you have to go to the toilet, and you can't press pause.
That's true. But you see, could you not live without that? Could you not bring a pole with you? Some kind of a Lucozade bottle?
You know, can you imagine if you had a wee device and everyone pressed pause every time they went to the toilet?
There is a cinema in London, in Notting Hill, and I used to frequent it all the time.
Why don't you just show the pictures in the toilet?
They might attract the wrong kind of person. I don't know.
Right, the cinema in London, you said?
There's a cinema in London in Notting Hill called the Coronet. And Coronet, it's an old-fashioned cinema. You know the way cinemas used to be? Mm-hmm. And up until about a year ago, I think they've all stopped that now because they're not allowed to do anything like that anymore. I discovered about 5 years ago, I discovered that you could go in there and you could bring in a 6-pack of beer.
Never.
And you could bring in a fish supper and you could smoke. You could go into the cinema and you could sit and you could have a fish supper, you could have a beer and you could smoke. And it was the greatest cinema I have ever seen. So they've probably stopped all that now. They probably shot everybody on the way out on the last Friday night so as to wipe them all out so that no other people would be looking for that. You have to go in there now wearing a white coat.
By the way...
Anyway, that's Friday the 14th of January in the Ulster Hall's group space. A bit of a bar and 2 Elvis movies, King Creole and Sharrow, back to back. And it seems to me is that you can sit and watch the movie and then you want to be drinking up the bar. Get a wee fucking white hour before the movie starts.
Does that mean you're sitting watching and and then this guy beside you wants a pint and he's getting up and he's saying, right, bring me down a gin or bring me down a vodka as well.
I'll take a wee vodka.
What do you want? At 4 Carisbrooke. And so all this is going back and forward.
Yeah, why not?
And you're trying to watch the TV?
I don't like cinemas anymore because they're too clinical. Do you ever wonder what people are thinking when the movie ends? If you don't know because you don't go to it. When was the last time you went to a movie?
You know, the one you sent me to, about the captain over the world.
Master and Commander? Yeah. You hated it.
Oh, yeah, with a passion.
I know. So, cinemas now, people just go in and sit down silently.
No, they're all eating round me. I told you that.
Anyway, they eat round you, but they eat round you now. But then a thing goes up on the screen that tells you not to make any noise. And people are going... and turn off your mobile phones. And all these things you're not supposed to do. Yeah. And if you see anybody videoing the movie, arrest them.
And you have far too much leg room.
Far too much room.
I hate that.
But you know the thing about that? Everybody watches the movie in complete silence, right? And then at the end of the movie, no matter what movie it is, everybody just gets up and just walks out. And nobody ever says, geez, that's a good movie there. Nobody ever speaks. They just get up and walk out. As if they're kind of zombies.
Remember we used to shout at the screen and all?
Do you remember? I remember.
Yeah.
Remember the thing about Roy Rogers? Remember going in? Remember I told you about that before? Well, one of the best ones I ever heard. Roy Rogers was going into the bar. He was pretending to be a gambler because he knew that there was this guy cheating, and he was cheating cowboys out of their money. So he decided to be a cowboy, not to be a cowboy, and went in all dirty.
Oh, right.
Remember that?
No.
He's done all dirty and stood at the bar. And the fellow says, "You want to play a game of cards, cowboy?" And he says, "Don't mind if I do." And he goes in and he sits down, and somebody shouts, and he sits down and he joins the table where all these card players are playing, and there's people they're fleecing the cowhands, right, basically. And there's a guy there with the sleight of hand, and somebody behind me stood up and said, "If you's rook that yoffla, I'm going to wreck this picture house." The tide has turned. Hitherto undisguised hostility towards the presenter has been transformed into a can-do attitude. Nothing is too much trouble, apparently. The presenter suspects dark motives. Even Ken is offering help. That's Jimmy Nail. That's that request. Wasn't that good of you to get that? Thank you, Sean, for that.
A lovely song.
Where did you get that, by the way? You're very resourceful today.
Yes.
Emma, thank you for that. Emma got that? Good girl. Why don't you get other things?
Well, anything you want, we can get it for you. All you got.
Well, how come it's always been a problem before, and suddenly it's okay?
Because we had a meeting. We had a meeting. Emma, Janet, and the Undertone and myself went out, and we had a little drink one night. And
he decided to help me?
Well, the Undertone said, he says, we're all in this together. You know.
You've been watching David Cameron.
Yeah, why don't we help him? So
you came to a decision to help me?
Yeah.
The thing that you're paid to do, that you had hitherto not done before, and you decided to help. Because I couldn't believe it this last couple of days. All I have to do is say, I wonder where that record is, and it arrives here.
Yes, we can get these
And
things.
it's like, it's almost the way everybody else works. And I said to myself, I'm being treated like everyone else. What's wrong? And it's wonderful. Yeah. Thank you.
Not at
I
all.
really like it so much.
We're trying desperately hard to get into your home.
Every parent dreads the day when their child might express an interest in learning a loud musical instrument. To be avoided at all costs are the following: tubas, trombones, drums, and bass guitars. My brother is a trombone player. A professional.
Yes, you told me that.
A professional trombone player, and he used to drive my father mad. But the only thing was, he was okay because he used to go up in the very top of the house. We used to live in a kind of well, it was never our house, but it was a large house, but we rented it. You see, I don't want people to think I lived in a big house.
Yeah, no.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he went way up the attic. And you know the thing was, you used to open the attic window. Do you remember the skylight? Remember the skylight windows?
Who?
You. Do you remember the skylights?
Yeah.
You could open the skylight. He used to open the skylight. Mm-hmm. And at that time, people, didn't get annoyed. People were different then, I mean, if he did that now, people would be complaining to the police, wouldn't they? Yeah. And they'd be ringing social workers. But I used to go out, during the next day.
And he used to put his slide out the skylight.
No, he opened the skylight, but what I'm saying is the sound came out. He wanted a bit of air in. So he was playing away, and the sound, you could hear the trombone everywhere. Because of the sound came out through the skylight. Yeah. So people were different then. So I remember they used to go out, maybe the next day, and people would say, "He's getting better, isn't he?" He's coming on.
There's a fella lived near us too as well, and he was learning the trumpet, and he used to stand upstairs in his bedroom, and he stood with the window open and looking out onto the street and playing the trumpet, and we used to gather outside in the far side of the street looking up at him.
People were interested.
Stand and watch him, yeah.
People were interested in you then because they had nothing else to do. Now they're too busy watching TV and videoing things, and doing all kinds of.
Although the other day when walking home, I heard a young man practicing his new drum kit that he got for Christmas, and I stood and I listened to him, and he made neither rhyme nor reason nor air nor smell, and I said to myself, I wouldn't like to be living near you, boy.
The only thing good about a drum kit, see, a lot of people who have no sense buy their children drum kits for Christmas, especially people who have far too much money, and they realise after the first day that they've made a big mistake. I want to say to those people that nobody ever stays with a drum kit, especially a child. They always get fed up within a fortnight. It's only later on when they come back to it that you're going to have trouble. But once you buy the initial drum kit, they'll play it for 2 weeks and then they get fed up. You'll be okay. It'll be hell for 2 weeks. But my father used to throw the paper at me because I used to play the guitar, you see, just an acoustic guitar, and he didn't have to go upstairs, and he didn't realise it annoyed people. Yeah. So every once in a while, the way you practice a guitar, as you well know, is you do little scales, and you just repeat them. And I'd be sitting watching TV, you see, and I'd be kind of doing this little scale. The fellow would be sitting watching TV, and then he'd go, "Ah! Ah!" and he'd throw something at me. Get upstairs!
Throw the budgie at you.
I don't know. And I should say, "What's wrong, Father?"
Yes.
Back tomorrow. Thank you for listening.